is shorter than we presumed. It appears the scientists have proven that there is actually slightly less time to our days than previously anticipated. So science engagement astronomer from the observatory, Dr. Daniel Kahnemer, our regular, now joins us to give us the lowdown. Dr. Dan, what is going on? Scientists have discovered that time is passing faster now than it has at any other point in the last 50 years. What is the reason for this? Are we all just spinning out of control? What's going on?
So time's not actually moving faster. Our days are slightly shorter. So this year we had the sort of 25 of the shortest days in the last 50 years. And that means that the Earth was spinning slightly quicker than it normally does. So generally what the Earth does is it spins slightly slower than 24 hours. And that means that these sort of milliseconds add up over a year and a half. And every now and again, we have to add a leap second. So, we have to add an extra second to our clocks so that we're back in line with the Earth's rotation. But what happened this year, well, last year, in addition to all the other things that happened last year, was that the Earth started moving slightly quicker on various days, about 50 of these days.
I just think because it was 2020, they were trying to just speed things up and get through it a little bit quicker if we could. This is obviously causing quite a stir within scientists who are debating officially taking off a portion of time or then adding that, as you said, that negative leap second to account for the change in the Earth's speeds. Can you tell us a bit more about why there is such a raging debate?
This is something which is probably not important to the man on the street. But to scientists, it makes a big difference. For computing, your computers keep very accurate time and they need it in order for everything to be working, banking. There was the whole Y2K scare. And every now and again, when we add a leap second, it's, for the computers, it's like you're walking up a set of stairs and you get to the top of the stairs. You think there's one more step, but there isn't. And you kind of stumble. And that's what it's like for the computers, and they all freak out. And so that's why adding these things is a little bit controversial. But we do need to somehow keep our time in check with the Earth's rotation. Otherwise, in a couple of thousand years, the morning will be in the afternoon and vice versa.
Hey, for a breakfast show, I could do with that, getting up at maybe 2 in the afternoon. I'm down for that. Look, your analogies have been really good this morning, so I hope you got another one now. On average, our days are shorter by that 0.5 milliseconds. Is this going to be the new norm? Is this something that will adjust over the next 50 years? How do we kind of foresee this working out moving forward?
Yeah, it's kind of impossible to predict. Like, as I said, the Earth is rotating and it has these variations depending on what's going on. The moon, the tides, whatever's happening in the core, even big volcanoes and earthquakes sort of cause little glitches in the Earth's rotation. So those things are impossible to predict. So we don't really know what's going to happen. But the way we can sort of deal with these things in the future is whether we continue to add and subtract leap seconds here and there, or whether we slightly adjust the clock by that 0.5 milliseconds every now and again, and nobody really notices. It's a matter of how we sort of handle these small changes. It makes a difference for banking or for astronomy. For scientists, it makes a difference.
So this basically is going to be a test as to see how sneaky we really are as a species. So world timekeepers use very special equipment known as atomic clocks to measure time. Can you tell us how this device works and what they use?
Yeah, so there's a good analogy for this. Basically, it's a pendulum. So if you can think of a pendulum, or in your watch, there's these oscillations. In a digital clock, it uses the oscillations from the power, in the power lines, and basically it's just a pendulum keeping time, tick tock, tick tock. For an atomic clock, what you're doing is you're looking at an atom. We mostly use cesium atoms, and we know very, very accurately the frequency of how that atom vibrates. So, if this thing is vibrating, and it'll be at nanoseconds, but if it vibrates, for example, 7,000 times a second, then we can count those 7,000 times and say there was another second. And because it's so accurate, that frequency, it's based on, like, you know, real atomic physics. It doesn't vary very much at all. Whereas, you know, the power cables or your watch or anything else loses time, gains time. Those things aren't very accurate. And that's why we use atomic clocks.
Okay, we know that using power in this country is probably not the best way to go as well. Buddy, I'm no less confused than I was at the beginning, but I'm a lot more excited about science this year because you've given us something else to think about. Thank you so much for your time this morning. We really do appreciate it. Can't wait to hear what scientists decide. Should we subtract time or should we add that negative second? How will we deal with this moving forward? And one thing I will say, though, is time is getting shorter, so make the most of it.